So remember in the previous page, we show you a case that between the same pair of the entities, we can have multiple relationships. That between departments and employees, we have one works in as a relationship, right? And we can also have some other relationship like managers. Like we have one manager for the department, right? So far, all the relationships we have are introduced. They are all between or among different entities. Then we have another question in our mind. Can we add a relationship to only one single type of entities? You can think about this, right? Can we do so? Actually, the answer is yes. Let's assume we have another new relationship to add to the diagram as shown here. This relationship denotes the management relationship among employees. Because given all the employees, some employee will be the manager, some will be the subordinates, right? And then we can add one new relationship, like the post 2, denotes the reporting relationship among the employees. Of course, we can add some physical meaning for both sides, like this side denotes the supervisor, this side denotes the subordinates, right? And this relationship is different from the one we show here as well as the one we showed before, right? It connects to one single type of the entities, the employees, denoting the reporting relationship among the employees, right? Okay, this page provides a summarization of the relationships we have covered already. So generally, we can model a relationship as a mass set product. And we have introduced two kinds of relationships, which are the binary and multi-way relationships. We can also cover how to convert a multi-way relationship into binary ones, so we can create a new entity for the relationship. So in the conversion, please pay attention to the constraints, right? To the new relationships we have created. We have also covered the constraints on the degrees of the relationships. We have many-to-many, one-to-one, and one-to-many. So you need to pay attention which side we need to add the arrows, right? It is important. We also mentioned we can add some attributes to the relationships as well. Okay, so this is about the ER model for the relationships. Next, we will go to more advanced topics for the subclass. Okay, so before we go to the subclass, I'd like to do a example together with you. We can draw a ER diagram for some concrete example applications. Let's assume we plan to build a Facebook in our course project. Then what will be the ER model or ER diagram we can draw for the examples like Facebook? So let's check the Facebook carefully. We know that inside Facebook we have lots of entities, right? Denoting the information we have there. So then the question will be, what are the entities we have? Normally we have the users, right? We have users as entities. We have lots of posts, right? And we have lots of other entities like images. Again, we can also have locations, right? Besides, we can also have some components to show which component the person works for, right? As to the relationship between user and the post, we have different kinds of relationship, right? Between user and the posts, what kinds of relationship we can have? We can have like a post, right? We can also have a like the person likes this post. Again, we can also have like a repost or share. As to the relationship between user and images, it will be very similar, right? Now, we can post an image, we can have a like, we can have a share, like that. Can we have any relationship between posts and images? The answer is yes, right? We can have the post contain some images, right? And we can also have some user checks in at some locations, right? Something like that, right? We can also have posts. They may mention some locations, for example. right? So besides this, we can also have some user, right? User and component, like the user works for some components, right? So normally when you do your project, you need to ask yourself, in your application, what are the entities, what are the relationships among the entities? Of course, we haven't covered this subclass yet. You also need to check the subclass if we have more materials are covered for your project, right? So let's assume we have these entities as well as these relationships. Besides this entity we list here, we also need to ask for ourselves, what are the attributes for the entities? Now for user, what are the attributes do we have? Post, for what are the attributes do we have? As well as images, what are the attributes do we have? And locations, and the component, for example. It is similar for the relationship. Do we have any attributes for the relationships, right? Let me differentiate them. It's for entities. Then we have attributes for the relationships, right? So generally, when you decide your application domain and do the brainstorming with your teammates, you need to ask these questions. What entity do we have? What are the relationships and as well as attributes we have, right? As we study further, you also need to pay attention to the keys, right? Some attributes can serve as a key for the entities and like that. Okay, so let's assume we have something like that, and we want to draw a diagram, ER diagram for this application, right? We can do this together for you, as it can provide you with some more information when we do the ER models.